As an investigator, there are times you question your own mind and instinct. If the choices you made were correct, the light might dim from the failures of the past, but there are those who bring a new perspective. When twilight descends upon a city, it reveals secrets for those who dare to venture out. Secrets of an old empire hides within plain sight of a bustling city. The lines between reality and illusion blur. As the light reaches to uncover secrets, shadows dance in the light, which bring more questions than answers. A new circle is formed, or some secrets are better left alone. Thus, we find ourselves with the Circle of the Obsidian Syndicate, assignment number 1337, What Lies in the Shadow. As the scene opens, we find ourselves in a district full of up-and-coming residential neighborhoods and family-operated shops. This district is in the middle of a middle-class sprawl that we know in New Fair. Newly installed electric lights illuminate streets, affording the citadel a reputation for being incredibly safe at night. This area of the city was nearest to the fighting of the last Great War in Westfrick. But post-victory, it was revitalized into the modern residential landscape it is today. Most neighborhoods are under constant development, with construction now pushing further and further west. Though the wealth that comes from the incredible population devastation of a hard-won war is most apparent in the middle-class expansion of the citadel. It's the middle of the night where the streets once busy with people waving hello in the streets and children playing outside. It's now silent, and we watch the camera go down a street dimly lit by electrical light past the homes and into a not so peaceful part of town. In the early days, this structure the cameras comes up on was constructed outside the boundaries of New Fair, so the wealthy citizens could hide away relatives suffering from mental illness, or those who were in fine health but embarrassing the family. The OUP also uses the facility to silence officers and civilians who have suffered from too much bleed, creating a moniker going gray. It's notoriously horrific and deadly place to live. From the outside, you can see this giant structure that looks like an old school greenhouse. With the rounded domes on the top made out of glass, the front door is large, two door structures that swing open inwards. The camera passes through the door as if it was a fly on the wall, zooming past the front desk as you enter, and the hallways on the left and the right. The camera stops outside the room as we watch the door creak open. In front of us, we see a patient. This patient is from this structure that we're inside. We see inside this room, it's green, tinted on the walls. A border that runs in the middle that surrounds the room. The windows are barred from the outside to make sure that the patients don't try to escape using the windows. There's a wardrobe inside the patients use to put new sheets on the bed and put their clothes away. The bed is an old patient bed where the mattress is indented in the middle from overuse. Lots of patients come and go through this asylum. The bars of the old bed are old and metal with some rust, you can tell. The straps are seen on the floor, attached to the bed for those patients that refuse medication or treatment. When the camera looks back at the patient, we see he's pale, with brown hair, his hands over his face, as though he hasn't slept in days. When you take a closer look at him, you can see his hands. The hands are scratched from the knuckles all the way down to his elbow. He slowly stands up, walks over to the bathroom. The bathroom doesn't have a door for patient safety. So he walks through this opening and he turns on the faucet to splash water on his face. We see his reflection now in the mirror. This mirror is old, it's got rust on the edges, it's got dust. His eyes are bloodshot from the lack of sleep, his thoughts all over the place. Was it real? Am I awake? What was that? Those eyes. Flashes of images come across his head. The pain rises as he sees them as they flash before his eyes. Images of his family, his wife disfigured, laying face down on the ground, his neighbors lying in a pool of blood, his friends that came over to the dinner hunched over on the dining room table. He shakes it off. All he can remember right now is this terrible growl. He haunts his very thoughts still to this day. He watches helplessly as they slither through the cracks, creeping along the walls like venomous serpents. Movement as it was static along the walls, if it was here, but it wasn't. The growl, as if it was hungry, as if it needs to feed. The growl now growing louder, as if it was in the room with him. He looks up in the mirror, he sees nothing. He lets out a breath of relaxation, steeling himself, reassuring himself. It was nothing. Couldn't have been real. Nothing like that exists. The city would know more about this if it was. There's no way this could be real. He looks closer in the mirror to his eyes that are bloodshot red. He's checking his pupils. As he gets closer to that mirror, the camera doesn't focus on his eye, but the camera focuses on something behind him in the mirror, as a shadow that wasn't there before moves across from left to right in the mirror. He turns around, startled. What was that? Catching his breath, heart now racing. Was that them? Are they here? No, they can't be. That wasn't real. In the other room, you hear a blood-curdling scream. Without even thinking twice, he just bursts out the door, goes down the hallway, he clutches his chest, not looking back. He knows security and staff won't move. This place is built for things like this. People here are not in the right state of mind. They scream all the time. No one moves a muscle. He continues to run down the hallway with no sense of direction, only knowing he needs to get out. He sees the security personnel. He tries to holler at them. The hallways at night are dimly lit to conserve electricity, so that candlelight is used to move about. He raises his gaze once more to the security guard, and he hears the growl once again. The camera shifts the gaze to the security guard at this point, and you see the security guard. He starts to grab at his chest as what seems to be a pointed object pierces right through the middle of his chest cavity. Slowly, you watch the security guard rise off the floor, and as you look at the security guard, his mouth gaped wide open, his chest open, is now being pierced wider and wider as this pointed object is now shoved through his chest cavity, and all you hear is this growl behind him. The security guard gets tossed like a ragdoll against the wall, and this thing that you're seeing, that you're looking at, is dark, and you can't see its eyes, but its movement is static. You watch as this figure, humanoid-like, hunches over to the security guard and starts eating at his flesh, tears off his flesh piece by piece. The camera turns over to this person you've been watching now run down this hallway, and just watch this security guard get pierced through the middle of his chest and being torn apart. Without hesitation, runs the opposite direction. He starts thinking of locations where he can go. He doesn't know where to go, but wait. He thinks, oh yeah, there's a laundry chute. There's a laundry chute. He turns around and starts heading down the hallway, down where he knows where the chute is at, where they can open up the chute. And all of a sudden he starts hearing behind him footsteps and growls, starts walking almost humanoid-like, stalking his prey as he walks down his street, or this hallway, excuse me. And our figure and the person that we see just starts pounding at the laundry basket. He starts trying to open it. It's this old type fashion. You've seen it before, where they send food up on an elevator. If you could fit someone inside if you can get in it, but it's locked. He can't get in. He can't. It's stuck. And he looks behind him. Figure moving closer. 20 feet. 15 feet. 10 feet. All this person can think about is, how did it find me? What was that? Did I get a good look at it? If it found me here, is anywhere safe? What's going on? Why me? He continues to pant in the alleyway as he watches his growing figure, now with red eyes, look straight at him. It's now 5 feet away. The person now, one last ditch effort, opens the laundry basket and jumps right in, closes it as the figure slams against the door on the outside. This laundry basket doesn't hold a lot of weight. I mean, yes, it can hold a lot of laundry because it gets sent up and down all the time, but a human person, no, it can't hold. And you see the camera now follow this person go down this laundry chute as it slams onto the ground, and he walks out. The person that we've been watching this whole time just stumbles out, grabbing his leg. Oh, but that thing isn't gonna get him. He goes ahead and starts stumbling now. He knows he's seen people outside of his window come from this direction. He knows there's a way out of this. So he starts walking down this area. He goes outside, okay? He's outside. He starts seeing the lampposts lit with electricity. It's dark. He starts looking. All you hear are the sounds of his footsteps as he doesn't have any shoes on. He's barefoot, running on these cobblestone streets. He goes down the streets and he finds an alleyway. He tries to catch his breath here. And how did it find me? What's going on? He continues to pant in this alleyway as we watch as a growing figure with red eyes appear right behind him, the growl even closer to his ear. As this figure is about to enclose on this man, another person is found passing by with a lamp in his hand. This gentleman who comes in is well dressed, has a black shirt, black pants, shoes shined, and vest, a fedora on his head, a wool coat. It is the middle of the night and it's cold out. The lamp shines down the alleyway at the man we've been watching. The lamp shining brightly in the direction of this man. You can see he has robes now torn. His hands scratched, his face dirty from not watching. The person with the lamp yells out, "Hey, what you doing out here in the middle of the night?" The man we've been watching stands up, sobbing in distress. Comes closer to this man. The camera now focuses in on the name tag written around his wrist, and we see the name John. Next to this man's face, there is a pin with a circle on it. You hear this well-dressed man say, "It's all right. I gotcha." He whistles over for his partners to come by and help this man get out of the cold. He puts his wool coat on John and turns away from the alley. This man's partners take John away to bring him inside. But we watch this well-dressed man shine the light even further down the alleyway. The last thing we hear as the camera shifts away from the alley is the low growl in the distance. And 2 gunshots. So now, we move to a different scene. In the heart of South Suffolk, we see a well-lit establishment. This place, it's got a line outside that wraps around. People who are well off and those who live in the lower levels are all invited in, as this is a safe haven for most. The district is built in layers, with the bottom level providing homes for those who are most well off. Here, the houses and roads are safely located on the ground floor, and the rest of the city is easily accessible. And the air is the cleanest. The topmost levels are the hardest to maintain and the most dangerous. Residents must navigate the unrailed walkways and dodge the open electric wires crackling overhead, all while suffering severe smoke pollution from the homes below. The upper Suffolk is no place for the faint of heart or the clumsy foot. Completely different from this scene before, this place is the hustle and bustle of town. As you guys enter through the heavy carved wooden doors, your eyes are immediately drawn to the rich, deep mahogany bar that stretches elongated along one of the sides of the rooms. Above it, a canopy of intricate pattern stained glass cast colorfully. Shimmering light bounces off of those and onto the polished wood surface where crystal decanters sparkle with promises of fine spirits. The walls are adorned with luxurious damask wallpaper and a deeply burgundy hue accented with a golden motifs that catch the light from the gas lamp chandeliers dangling from the ceiling. These chandeliers, with their swirling bronze arms and tiers of flickering candles, bathe the room in a warm, inviting glow. That ceiling is a masterpiece in itself. Furniture throughout the space is covered in a velvet upholstered armchair and seats that invite patrons to settle into the night of leisure. Each piece features ornate wooden frames gilded with carved with meticulous detail, offering both comfort and pleasure. The tables scattered strategically around the room, their edges trimmed with leather and their legs similarly carved and gilded. The air is filled with blend of cigar smoke, the rich aroma of aged spirits, and the faint scent of perfume. In one corner of a small stage hosts a pianist whose fingers dance across the keys of a grand piano, weaving melodies that drift through the room like audible silk. In early evening on this day, we see a bartender in the back talking to a crowd around his bar and making drinks, almost putting before we get to that person, you do see embroidered on these chairs the name of this location. The name is something that I forgot, and I need to look up.
Terrible parts of being the GM.
The Quiet Roast.
Love it.
So now, my friends, we watch this beautiful bartender, Johnny. Talk a little bit about who you are and what you just look like.
Sure. Mason is rarely caught with a smile. He is very much a person that is working here because he has to, and this is also how he keeps up to date with things that are happening around town. He by request of the owner is wearing relatively nice clothing. He has a vest with a jacket that is currently hanging off on the side of the bar, and he's wearing a nice little newsy hat as well as a vest and long shirt as he is just pouring a couple drinks for a few of the clientele, and of course doing one of those cool slide it across the bar to the person, and he
Thanks, Mason.
gives a slight smile, gives a light smile when he hears that. No worries. And after serving the last customer that he needs to serve for at least this moment, he just grabs the towel that's on the side of him and just starts cleaning the mugs that he needs to clean.
So, we watch the camera hover over Mason. And towards the back of the Quiet Roast, we watch a well-dressed man we've seen before. He walks through into the room. No hat, but you can clearly see scars on his face. His eyes white. Well, one of them is white. He doesn't seem to have much function at all in that eye. And that scar that runs parallel down his cheek. You have another scar on his right cheek. He walks over to Mason. Hey, how's it going tonight?
Hey, boss.
What's going on?
Same old. Nothing much.
Yeah, I'm glad.
What about you?
Things are always the same. If not here, then afterwards, because city needs people. But
I know.
How are you holding up?
Same old, hanging in there.
He kind of walks over around the bar, kind of sees that you're cleaning, grabs one of your cups. I've always taught you, as he holds up the glass, that you need to let that shit out. You can't bullshit a bullshitter.
All right. I appreciate it.
No, I'm here for you. And he purposely looks up the glass, sees there's a speck on it, looks over to you, and you miss the spot and just slides it over to you.
Thank you. Take care of it.
Yeah. I'm paying you for something, right? Might as well do it right.
Yeah. You're paying me for my good looks. And you just slight wink.
He pours over a shot. This one for me. And And he, out of habit, starts pouring a second and looks over to you.
Boss, are you suggesting that I should drink on the job?
Puts the bottle down, grabs it, and chugs both of them.
Yeah. I should have known better.
Yeah. You know why. And
Yeah, I know.
he just continues to pour some drinks, talks to the other bars. At this time, we watch we hear a buzz through the door, and it's a very low, faint buzz. And then you hear, psst, and a door swings open. And when the door swings open, a big, muscular man at the front door. We're gonna call him Oscar for now. Oscar comes down. Yo, boss, there's somebody outside. He's I don't know. We don't let people in from that age. And in the background, you can hear a little person around the age of 18 trying to convince this big old dude who's about 6'2" to get them inside the bar. Nate the Red. What are you saying to convince this person to let you in?
You know, I really do have more experience in a bar than you do on this earth. I need to get down there to speak with somebody about a product.
Boss, what do I do with this? I don't even know. Like, should I just chuck him out? And you'll see Kaz, who is the person with the scar who's been talking to Mason, kind of lean over to the bar, kind of doesn't see the door, but he just does one of these things. He's like, Oscar, just let him in, brah. Just let him in. Do they have the letter? Mason, did you send out the letters that I told you to send out last week?
Yeah, I dropped him off when I was on my way home.
Ask him for the letter, Oscar. Yo, boss, I don't know about no letter, boss. I'm just doing my job. You pay me to not keep people in. He's 18 years old. I don't want to hear the excuses, Oscar. I don't want to hear that. Just go do your job. And Oscar begrudgingly goes up to Nate. Looks down. This guy's pretty tall. Nate, can you describe what you're wearing right now and how tall you are?
Nate is roundabout 5'4", 5'5", standing rather confident despite his age. And despite his appearance even, his clothing is too big for him. His pants are sagging, and the only thing keeping them up is a pair of suspenders. They're old, they're worn. He looks like he's probably not had a bath in 2 to 3 weeks, if even. But his hair is clean, and a brilliant sort of almost orangey red color, freckles adorning his face. And he stands there staring at this very large man above him. I was asked to come here, and I'm pretty sure that your boss would not want to be disappointed. And you see Oscar kind of just forget, even though he just got told what he needed to ask. He just Nate pulls the letter out, shoves it in the guy's chest, and uses the distraction to walk by him.
Yeah, do you have this letter? Where are you going? As you watch Nate just walk right past this 6'2" muscular man, just own the place. Nate, you make your way down the stairs into this bar. You do see Kaz on your left. You do recognize Kaz. You do see a person at the bar, Mason, and obviously the rest of the quiet roast. Pretty busy. There's a pianist in the bar. What would you like to do first?
I'm probably going to go over to Kaz and Mason, as they're the only two that Nate really is familiar with, and despite being confident enough to get by the really big guy, once he's inside of a room with more people than he likes being around, he shifts over to where he's most comfortable, which is, in this case, Kaz.
Okay, perfect. So you come over to Kaz. Kaz acknowledges you, sees you. What's up, Short King? How you doing? And
you know I don't like being pulled away from my place of work, right? I don't want to be here. Why did you call me from my home?
well, it's in the letter. Did you read it?
You know I can't read.
Dad. Yeah. All right.
That
And then he starts laughing. How many times have I said that to you and you still believe it?
look.
I like this one.
Mason, you would. It's just, Nate's got a particular set of skills that are very helpful for endeavors outside of this bar, as you may.
He leans over to Mason. I normally don't offer this without a bit of vetting, but I also have a particular set of products to offer as well. And then he leans back up and he sort of rubs his nose just a little bit.
Got it. I'll talk to you later.
Okay. Mason, Kaz sees what's going on, doesn't pay much attention to it, he kind of leaves it be. For those who are joining in the quiet roast, not only is it a bar, but it is a place where people can confidently conduct business of all sorts that are within the legal and illegal types, as this is a safe space for them. So, we have now another person who seems to arrive pretty early. Oliver, the camera switches over to you. You seem to be alone in the corner, kind of scoping out the place. Describe what you're wearing, what you look like, and what are you thinking about?
So Oliver, it looks pretty much like has an athletic build, but he seems to have maybe had a few years of just not being able to do much. His clothes look more like what your father would wear rather than somebody of his age. He's got a set of sturdy leather overalls over that have tightened to as much as it can be, pulling on the vest itself. He wears heavy black glove on his right hand, and he's just sitting there listening to the piano music, and every once in a while he'll just kind of look up and just drift off for a moment, and then he'll come back.
At this time, as you're drifting up, you see one of the waitresses in the bar. She's a pretty little thing, right? She's 5'5". She's got a very girlish figure. Okay, that's the best I'm going to explain it tonight. And she's got some long blonde hair. She's got a corset on, dress appropriate to the period, and comes up with the serving tray and goes up to you and, what's up, hunk? How you doing tonight?
Just water, please.
Water? Is there anything else you want to get?
Not this evening.
But come on. Is there somebody you're waiting for? Another girl? And she sits down, pulls up a chair, crosses her legs.
I mean, it's been way too long. It's not really worth it at this point.
What are you talking about, hon? I'm just sitting down.
You know, when you see things... Actually, rephrase this. When you are at war and they have, the lass come next to you and she tries to gain some sort of banter. And the last thing you can remember is having to head back out. I'm not the one, girl. I'm just here to listen to the music and load the boxes later tonight.
All right, you don't gotta be a Debbie Downer. Just trying to make us smile, you know?
I appreciate it. And he pulls out what looks like a rolled up, very mismatched set of coins, and he says, "Just a little extra for the water." And he places a couple extra dollars on the plate.
She grabs the plate, sees the coin, bites into it. Just gotta check, you know, make sure it's not chocolate. And you know, you're cute if you weren't all so downy.
Maybe another knife.
All right, hon. And she'll walk around and kind of like push in the chair, but you see kind of her like arch and pushes the chair in with the back of her foot so she doesn't really use her hands and moves on. These waitresses, they're very good with their hands and their feet. They know to move around the areas. All right, chat, keep your minds out of the gutter, okay? So then we're gonna go ahead and shift back to Mason. The waitress comes up to Mason, just talk to Oliver back there. Man, that guy, he just wants water. I'm trying to get him some whiskey or something, but this guy's a Debbie Downer. I don't know what the fuck he's going on about. And she's just hear her yabbering all over this.
Which
Does
guy?
Nate also hear it?
Yeah, you guys are in the same vicinity.
Which guy?
And she turns around, points at the guy in the corner. She's not subtle at all about it either. She's just like straight up points to the guy at the bar.
That one right there.
That one
He's the
over
one.
there.
That's so good.
So she's just not subtle at all. And she's just fixing herself, you know, making sure that she gets the appropriate money and tips for the night. So, like, she's got to make sure that she's appropriate. Kaz kind of looks at her and glances and just nods his head in disappointment, as in, like, you don't need to do that. And he's had a conversation with her. Mason, you know this as well, that Kaz doesn't care about the dress up and being nice and pretty. He wants people to be themselves here. So, you know, he's just kind of shakes his head, moves over to you, and just give her the water, man.
I'm gonna take this one. I'll be right back.
All right.
Nate reaches over and grabs your hand real fast and slips a small package in there, just in case.
Jeez.
He winks, puts it in his front coat pocket, and then walks out with a tall glass of water for our patron. Hear it. I heard you wanted water. I'm sorry. I saw you walked in. You look very familiar. Is it your cook, right, Boomer? Is that right?
Nobody's taught me that in a couple years.
I take a seat at the
who are
other
you?
side. I don't know if you remember me. I got out of the war pretty quick. I'm Mason. Miller. Sorry. Last name Miller. I was a sergeant. I think I was your sergeant.
That's a shock. I haven't.
Yeah.
I mean, last time we saw each other, we were just, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't have to talk about it. It was a long time ago. War.
I stayed in a couple more years after everything had happened in the war, and then they said they didn't need me anymore, and I've just been kind of grabbing odd jobs here and there. Your boss told me, you guys need some boxes lifted here, cleanups at the night, and gives me enough coin to at least have a decent time.
All right. Well.
But it's been rough.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I better get back. He's gonna kick my ass if I'm away for more than a minute or two, so it's good to see you.
Mason, dear! Come here! Mason!
Yeah, and then I'll just step up and start walking back over to the bar. Yeah, what's up?
Honey, I was gonna take the water myself. Come on.
Listen, I don't think Oliver over there is trying to have a long chat about anything, so like just maybe cool it on his table.
Whatever. She brushes you off and walks away. At that moment, we hear some stuttering and gets a little bit quiet in the bar. But it feels like the eyes turn towards the door. We see someone with stature. Someone who comes from a very long line of family within this area. Well known, well respected. A doctor of some sorts. We see Dianatha walk through the door, book in hand, I'm assuming. Probably buried deep in it. Dianatha, what are you wearing?
Diantha is wearing a very well-tailored button-up collared shirt, rolled up to her sleeves, rolled up to her elbows, and a high-waisted orange, again, very tailored to her skirt, and a blue tie. All of these things look very simple, but if you know what you're looking at, they are tailored to her and actually made out of very fine cloth. And she's got her hair pulled up in a way that clearly she could not do by herself, as she is entering this space that I'm having a feeling that she's never been to before.
Kaz sees you at the door. What's up, honey? How you doing? Welcome in. It's nice to see you. You finally come into my establishment after I've been inviting you for forever.
Yes, I've gotten, how many letters is this now? 4, 5?
Oh, you don't gotta put me on the spot like that, hon.
Well, it's for me to reference later. I mean, you were quite persistent about...
It was 5.
All right, 5, wonderful. And you'll see her, mark that down in her book. This one, good thing this was the last one, I guess, as she'll walk up to where Kaz is and hand them the letter in her hand. This one was barely legible. Were you even awake when you wrote it?
Look, sometimes, Doc, we've talked about this, the medication you give me gives me the shakes. I'm doing my best. All right?
Are you staying hydrated?
Does whiskey count?
No. That's why you're getting the shakes.
Well, and he's clamoring now, kind of nervous, and looks over to Mason for help, but he knows he's not getting it at all?
Yeah, two shots of whiskey so far.
Oh, just tonight. Any water?
At least that I've seen. He'll get some water now. And then I bring out a glass and then start pouring some water.
Thank you, sir, bartender. Mason, yes. Thank you. I would say no more whiskey if Kaz wants to stay healthy.
Yeah.
But that's up to you.
Give me a whiskey.
He's the boss.
I'll take a whiskey.
No, and Kaz just deliberately beelines to you to get away from the conversation.
You know Mason's like reaching for the whiskey anyways, like, yeah, fuck, why not? But as he's doing that, he just looks over to Diantha and just says, Kaz is a boss, listen, if he's gonna want whiskey, he's gonna want whiskey. I'm sorry. It's his own decision.
He won't be the boss for long if you keep giving him whiskey, but you're right, it is his decision.
Earns the bar after he mysteriously passes away. And then I just throw in a little chuckle and I just wink at Kaz.
I heard that, bitch.
All in good fun.
Diantha will retrieve the letter off of the bar and tuck it back in her book.
And Kaz walks over to Diantha. Look, I appreciate you coming. Seriously. He gets serious. There's two sides to Kaz that you do know. You being the doctor, you've been with him for a while. There's the business side, which Kaz is very adamant about, but there's also the personal, serious side. And you watch him kind of take a seat next to you and starts looking at his hands as they shake, and the tremors haven't stopped. I'm doing what I can.
You do understand we cannot increase what I gave you last time.
No, I get it. I understand. It's just, they're not getting better. For a while, it was good. But it's just, I don't know if it's old age or I'm losing it. I don't know. I don't know what to do.
If it gets worse, let me know. It just depends on how willing you might be to possible alternative therapy.
I don't know about that, Doc. Yeah, well, and you kind of see him kind of like get a little nervous and a little fidgety as you mentioned that, and he stands up and he's like, I appreciate you, Doc, and thank you for coming. And did you read the letter, though? Seriously?
I did, all 5 of them.
All right, I appreciate you. And he puts his hand on your shoulder, does a little love squeeze thing. I don't know how to explain it, like a little love squeeze, but not necessarily like, it's just kind of one of those grabs on the shoulder thing.
Yeah.
Reassuring squeeze.
A reassuring squeeze as he walks off. The bar at this time is starting to empty out. It's getting close to close. It's about a couple stragglers. Your normal people that are in the bar, the stragglers. However, the 4 of you are still in. You watch Kaz just kind of shoo the other people out slowly. And he finally gets everybody out and turns to all of you.
Right then, what's this about?
Can you hold your horses? You're lucky
No.
you're even in this bar.
Oliver will start.
I live in a brothel. This is tame compared to where I live.
You seem quite young. Are you sure you should be here? Kaz, did you make a mistake?
No, we need him.
No? All right. Child prodigy, possibly?
You'll see.
Nah. Ain't no way.
Ah, lovely.
Oliver, you're still sitting in the corner, I'm assuming?
So I'm going to start walking towards now that everybody's clearing out. And I'm just going to come up kind of slowly and say, so just like what we talked about earlier, just you need the boxes cleaned out back and...
Not tonight. And he looks to you, looks over to the other three. He glances and stops at Mason. He thinks about saying something, but he holds his tongue, stands up straight. And this time, you see Kaz touch his knee, as in pain. And from his pocket, he pulls out what seems to be a crunched up steel pole. At the end of it is a wolf's head. Mason, you know what this is. You've seen it before. And he extends his arm, and shoots out from this steel item a cane. He doesn't like to show in front of people that he is crippled. He's a lightkeeper, after all. He's been through some tough shit, seen some things. But now he stands before you, holding his cane, leaning on it in pain. And as he does that, at the same time, we hear a jingle come from the door. Our last member walks in.
Alice walks in. She has long strawberry blonde hair, and she's dressed very feminine, with a long blue dress, pearls, flowers. She's trying really hard not to draw attention to herself, but as she notices that the entire place is sort of emptying out, kind of hard to do, and especially as like the light catches her, she kind of has like a little bit of like a glow to her as she sort of walks in. She glances very quickly at Mason, looks down, then looks over at the good doctor and Kaz, and sort of immediately like shuffles over to them. Evening, everybody.
Mason immediately grabs onto the tip little container that he keeps on the bar, and then he goes and finds a table out of sight.
You watch as the camera follows Mason off into the distance. It kind of gets unfocused from him and moves over to Kaz, as you see Kaz kind of hobble over to you and just grabs onto his cane and... You made it. I see that you've gotten my letters.
I did. Did we have to meet here?
Yes.
All right, Kaz. What about it?
Well,
What is this letter you're talking about? I'm just here for a job.
he looks over to you, Oliver, and says, "You've been showing some promise. I'd like to extend you another job. This one pays well. We'll take care of you. You've been earning your keep here, and I've been keeping an eye on you. I think..." And you see him kind of look down and point towards his eye, and he goes, "We may not all wear scars on the outside,
But on the inside, we have something deeper that calls to us. I see that in you.
He brings his left hand over to his right hand and just kind of rests it on the forearm of his right hand.
This is something that we here at Candela like to say we like to keep the creatures at bay. You all are here with a particular set of skills, and he looks over at Alice. You've been working for me for quite a while. I think it's time you take a leadership role in this.
She like grabs Kaz's arm and like whispers, "Are you sure?"
You're never going to be ready if not now.
I guess if Diantha's here. All right.
Trust me. All of you know me. All of you've known me for quite a while. I wouldn't lead you into anything that I don't think you can't handle. He looks over.
I'm sorry. Did you say Candela?
Candela, yes.
I think you got the wrong kid.
Nate, I've been following you for quite a while.
And I've been following you.
Oh, I know. Trust me, I know. And you see him kind of glance down, pulls down his glasses, and looks straight over to you. Leans on the table. I have eyes and ears everywhere, just as you do. I know what you're capable of doing. You're young, you're talented, but you're no fool. You see through the bullshit. You're here. You're part of this team if you choose to do so. I'm not here to force your hand, but I know you want to know what's behind that door.
I mean, if it gets one more tick off of my wall, then yeah, I suppose I do kind of want to just kind of... And he pulls out a small little notepad from his pocket and a pen and... All right, continue.
He walks over to the good doctor. You've stitched me up quite a lot the last couple of years.
Yeah.
This one I'm not going to be a part of. I'll take your advice. I think you're ready for this.
And what is this entail?
As you question that, he looks over to Alice, shakes his head a little bit, stares over to Mason. Whistles over to Mason. I wish I could whistle right now, but my mouth is dry. Anyways, good enough for me. All right, whistles over to Mason. You know that storage area down below?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead and bring him up.
Yep. All right. And Mason is going to go down. He's going to grab what Kaz is requesting. And as he comes back up to the bar, of course, where Alice is standing, he'll just set everything down on the bar and then just kind of look over and, hey.
Nice.
Hope you're doing okay. And then he's just gonna go around the back side of the bar, grab a drink, and go back to his table.
I'm gonna go sit down next to Mason once he sits down.
Okay. As Kaz grabs the booklet, he shuffles the papers around, gives it to each of you, Diana and Alice. You guys have seen these papers before. They're full of documents that Candela has, research items, trinkets, assignment numbers. All of this makes sense to you because you've seen these types of items before. One thing stands out to you. New assignment number. Assignment number 1337. And next to it, you don't see a name yet of the circle. But you do recognize these names. One Alice Quinn, Diana Tha, Oliver, Nate. And there's one more name on there. But the camera shifts over before we can see clearly what it is. Or who it is. He looks up at the both of you. You understand this assignment. It's not going to be easy, but I am here to help you. Something terrible happened last night. I was there at the nick of time. Diana Tha, do you have a bleed detector on you?
I would.
Okay. What is
a little spyglass in her pocket.
What does this bleed detector do, and how does it look like?
So it is a small spyglass or other mechanism that allows investigators to perceive the evidence of phenomena. So hers, I would say, it is actually engraved really ornately, and the shift, which only she can kind of see, is the glass in the middle turns from like being able to see through it, like magnetic, like visible, to like a slight blue shade. So if you're not paying attention to it, like, you don't notice it.
Okay. Alice, you've chosen the path of the occultist. How would you know or feel the presence of bleed?
It's probably something more personal to her, but to everybody else, you would just see her stature change a little bit. But there's definitely a presence in her that recognizes when bleed's around.
Okay. I'm going to ask both of you to do the first roll of the night. I would like a sense roll.
We go.
Oh. Ooh.
Okay.
Okay.
3.
So since I don't have any advantages for this and I don't want to burn anything, do I just do roll D2?
If you have
2d6?
If you would roll, you would roll how many dice you have pointed to that.
Okay, I don't have any, and I thought that meant that you rolled at
disadvantage.
Okay, perfect.
Disadvantage.
Yeah.
So you roll at disadvantage, and you roll 2d6. Oh my god!
Damn, don't sixes. That's wild.
Can we get a crit in chat? Double sixes.
Listen,
Double
Amazing.
sixes. That is amazing. Okay.
that's for me knowing actually what to do. That was my reward. That was the
is
universe
your
going, good
reward.
job.
That is amazing. That is wild. I don't see double sixes often. That is amazing. All right, so
Let's go.
Way to start it.
I'm going to ask you, Alice, you failed in sensing anything. However, you do pick up something. You pick up something near. You can't pinpoint where. With Dianatha's crit, I would say your spyglass would normally shift and glow.
Yeah.
Very unnoticeable to the eye, right? However, you feel heat coming from your spyglass, as if it was radiating from your pocket.
Okay.
So you
So, like-
feel the
Yeah.
bleed is in your presence. So I need both Dianatha and Alice to take a bleed.
Let's go. All right.
When that happens, you guys will just see that Alice sort of gets real stiff for a moment. It goes very quiet, and there's like some deep breathing as she looks around, looks a bit confused for a second, and then it's gone, and she looks more relaxed again.
I think when Diantha feels the bleed, since it's her being in more presence of this magic than that she's not used to, she'll feel the burning of the spyglass, but then she'll actually get this twinge in her head, and she'll drop her journal unintentionally because she's never felt that before. And she'll have to scatter to pick it up off the bar.
At the sound of the journal.
Help you and stuff.
At the sound of the journal, Mason's gonna pop out of the table just to look and make sure that everything is okay. And then once he sees that it was just the journal that fell, he'll just come back to his seat.
At the sound of the journal, Nate stops trying to get himself a bottle of whiskey.
He's crawling over the counter and
When you see the camera shifts, right, to Nate hunched over the bar, both hands trying to get to where the whiskey bottle should be. However, Kaz is going to, with his cane, grab the back of your suspenders and pull you off the bar and sit you straight down into the chair.
Love it.
I'm sad.
That wee one's gonna be a bit of trouble.
Yes.
Come on.
I told you guys, he's got a skill set that y'all gonna need. And he hops over to, again, ladies, I need you, both veterans, to this organization and to the things that we see bump in the night, to take these. And he hesitates. Three people under your wing.
3. There's
You said you were resting, not you, so who is the third?
You're right. I am resting. But I think it's time for someone to come out of retirement. And it's not me.
There must be There must be some really fucked up shit if you're gonna be asking me to come back.
He leans over, and you see a half smirk on his face. You've seen this smirk before. You know, Kaz is very sneaky when he wants to be.
I knew I should have fucking gone home. Aaron, I'm gonna look over to Oliver and I know we were gonna. We'll talk later. You're gonna want to hear what he's gonna talk about.
Did you know about this?
I had my suspicions. I didn't know that you were involved. Honestly, I didn't know that I was involved, so.
Look, and
I've got your back.
he turns to both Oliver and Mason. Look. And he directly looks at you, Mason. This time, you see him straighten up his leg as much as possible and lets go of his cane, watching the cane fall flat to the floor. Mason, I can't do this anymore. You've been under my care for 2.5 years. I've watched you grow. I've watched you expand and become the man that you are today. Nothing can get in your way anymore. Trust me. Those
guess we'll
sounds,
find out.
my boy. And you see him kind of drop a little bit. Picks himself a little bit up. Yeah. Those voices never go away. No matter how hard you try to repress them, they stay and linger. But you are stronger than that. And you see Kaz collapse in front of all 5 of you.
I'm gonna catch him before he falls. Because I know what's happening. I'm gonna catch him here, and then I put him on one of the bar stools just nearby. All right. I don't need to get all theatrical. I get it.
Not this time, buddy.
All right, I'm gonna grab his cane, hand it back.
Yeah. He's still in pain. Looks over to 5. Just 1?
1.
It's more than I need.
Okay.
Looks
Take a
over.
big swig of the drink that he has.
Looks Kaz as he's straightening up his tie just from falling. Looks up to Alice. I'm sorry, dearie. Sorry.
They told me.
I know I broke my promise. But we need him. I need you.
It's fine. We can make it work. It'll be fine.
I know you can. And he just collapses. You just watch as this man's body is starting to collapse in front of you. He's sitting in his chair.
Shouldn't have
Should
the
he,
whiskey.
go to bed? Go to bed.
And he snaps at you. I can still go a couple more rounds.
Not at this point, unless And she's gonna like reach around in her bag and like in some of her medical equipment, she'll like pull out like a poultice, a couple different ones with some different herbs in it. These do nothing for him anymore. Unless he chooses to do a little more extreme things.
No!
It's not much how to do.
No. No.
I am only trying to help.
I know.
Have you by any chance tried perhaps the plants of the gods?
No.
What?
No.
In a medical term, what do you mean?
Scarlet?
Scarlet. Listen, I know that we have a bit of an understanding, but Kaz would never.
Is that rogue?
I don't think so.
At this point, you see sweat dripping on Kaz's face as he's in extreme pain.
I'm gonna pick up like a napkin and pat his head to like try and cool him down, like some water or something.
Thank you, dearie. And he just kind of lets you, as like he's weak, in a weakened state. Oliver, Mason, and Nate, describe how bleed affects all three of you.
I would think that Nate, having never experienced bleed before, wouldn't know exactly how it affects him until it actually physically shows up upon his person, taking on the red lines of his series board that he has upon his wall back in his apartment.
So good.
If I may, also, I imagine that he probably begins to just hear whispers of a bunch of different voices, like all coming to a certain like conclusion. I just imagine that would be something that he would hear as well.
Very possible. Very, very possible. But he's never experienced it before. He's only ever theorized about such things. He has other issues to deal with before bleed.
We all got
Welcome to the
club.
All right. Who's next?
And the lines would, of course, be red.
Of course.
So
Perfect.
Oliver's is very subtle. You watch him as he kind of tenses up a little bit. He reaches for that arm that's covered in the glove and just holds it and goes quiet. And it just looks like he's just biting his lip to the point where almost blood is dripping down his chin on how much pain he's in for the very short period of time.
For Mason, the way that bleed shows itself is, at least to everyone else, he's looking at you, Kaz, but his vision slowly goes over to Alice. And he is just dumbfounded. He's just staring with the blankest of faces. That almost resembles terror. And he just starts breathing a little quicker.
The second that I see that, I'm gonna like get up and kind of move back a little bit, or like try and like step behind Diantha.
Sorry. Pours another drink.
As all three of you are experiencing this bleed for the very first time, something that for some of you has only been theory, for some of you a
reoccurring nightmare. You all three experience bleed, but don't understand where it's coming from. You can roll, if you choose to do so, a sense roll.
Can I exchange that for instead a survey?
Why, sir?
Because he is focusing on everyone in the room all at the same time.
Sure.
Free on my
Either a survey or focus.
Okay. That's fine. You got a 3 on yours, Mason? Okay. Oliver?
I'll also say that while he takes this bleed, you hear the glass shatter as he crushes it in his hand. And then he's gonna go and get some first aid, not going to Diantha first, just going off to where there's a first aid kit rather than the doctor, and gonna dress up the wound.
So, Oliver,
I rolled a 1.
Okay. So
Oh, baby.
you don't sense anything. You don't survey. You look around the room. You just see Kaz sweating, just like in this chair while he's huddled around the 4 other people that he truly deeply cares for. You see through your eyes, Nate. You see a person who deeply cares for the other people in this room. You can see the pain through his eyes. You can see that he didn't want to lie, but you can't sense what's going on since you've never been exposed to bleed before. You've just felt this pain, the sensation come through you, but you just don't understand where it's coming from. Oliver, when you feel this bleed, you rolled a mixed success, which means you feel bleed. You can sense its general direction is coming from the table, but you can't pinpoint where it's coming from. But you can definitely know that it's in the vicinity of the table. You've never experienced bleed before. You don't know what magic is. For those who are watching for the very first time, the viewers, bleed in this world is like what magic's residue, radiation, feels like when something is in that world that emanates bleed. It feels that magic. So it's poison to someone who is normal like you and I. So in this world, Oliver, you've felt a sensation before, but you can't remember where. You've felt this in the past, but just the memories flood your brain, and the pain is just so intense you can't feel it. You just but you know it's coming in a sense of direction, and it's coming from this table area. You just don't know exactly where it's at. And Johnny, your character Mason, is feeling these pains of emotion as he's looking in a direction, just any direction, specifically one area. Every time you look in that area, it's like looking directly into the sun. It blinds you, it hurts you by looking towards that direction. You feel this immense pain just surge through you, more emotional than physical. And as you guys feel this pain, you watch Kaz just his breath seems to quicken.
Kaz,
What's going on? No.
He rips
Santa?
open his vest and his chest, and when
Everybody
he
get back.
rip open his
Nate
chest,
is quick to move away as soon as he's told to get back.
soon as he rips open his chest, you see 3 scratched long marks on Chaz's chest that are oozing with this black ichor.
Oh, what the fuck? God
What
damn
is
it.
this?
And then I'm rushing to get the first aid kit, bringing it back over here, and then handing it over to Diantha. I don't know what the fuck is going on. You probably know something better than I do. Just do something.
I can try. It's not going to do anything.
You have to do
I can
something.
try,
I mean,
but she'll still approach and try and like in a very relaxed way take like a couple steps forward towards Kaz and be like, you can fight this. You've been doing it this long. Let's take a deep breath. Let's see what works, what doesn't.
I'd come out of nowhere and start pouring some alcohol onto the wound. I don't know what this is, but we're gonna burn it out of you.
It doesn't.
You said that
Alice
there was
is gonna
something else
rush
we could
forward.
do.
I'm
Right?
gonna touch the ooze to try and use let them in, which is whenever you take 1 or more bleed marks, you can also gain additional information about the phenomenon that is harming you. So I'm trying to give myself a bleed mark
Hell
by
yeah.
touching the ooze, figure out what the hell's going on.
Okay.
And I'll pin Kaz down.
Okay.
I'll place my right arm. I'll
Just sit still for a second.
Okay.
grab
can.
with the right arm and just brace him.
All right.
Okay, while they're doing this, can I use my occult researcher and I'll take a brain mark to see an important occult detail that you would recognize from my studies, but has not yet been revealed in the scene.
Okay.
If there are none, then take no brain. So as I'm watching them do this interaction.
So here's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna combine all of you guys. So you guys are gonna pick who you want to roll. You're gonna give a drive over to them. Yes.
What are we rolling?
I thought you were I thought you were asking a question. You were pointing. So I was like, are you asking a question or are you like pointing? Okay.
I think we're all in different directions on each other.
I think we're all pointing at Alice.
All right. So here's what I need you guys to do. I need you guys to designate one person.
Okay.
So say the name
Alice.
because pointing. Okay, Alice.
But what are we rolling? Because
So you're gonna roll. You're gonna roll.
All right.
Okay. And what I want you to roll is your highest stat to that feature.
Okay.
all right,
Okay.
great.
And then you're gonna add 2 drive to it.
All right,
We're pulling, so each one of us pulls a drive off of our.
Correct. So
and that lets me add an additional die.
2 additional die.
Yeah, because it's one from each of us.
Correct.
There we go.
Is this a high stakes roll?
Ooh.
Yes and no.
That's so
Can I use my
confusing.
cool under pressure? On a high stakes roll, I can use a cunning instead of a intuition.
Sure.
Cool.
Hey.
Here we go. I got a 6.
That's a 6.
Hey, roll the 6. Are any of them on a gilded
That's so much
die?
pressure.
Are they on a gilded die?
No.
No. Okay. For
That's
those
not,
who are
focus is my gilded. Should I have rolled focus?
no, it's fine.
well.
We already rolled.
Okay.
But it's a good learning experience for those who are watching and trying to understand what gilded means.
Don't do what I did.
No, it's great. Nate, you got a 6.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's a mechanic within the game that you can basically use your gilded roll and retrieve that gilded or drive back. It gives you that ability to get a drive back into your particular sense that you're rolling, which is great. But,
to be fair, I haven't used a.
and that's okay.
intuition yet.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So that's fine. You rolled a 6. It's a success. So tell me what it is that you're trying to do when you touch this ooze, this black ichor coming out of.
Alice is trying to figure out what the source of it is so that maybe she can do something to help Kaz and stop it.
Okay.
So she's doing it purely to be like, what is this? Tell me what you are so I can get rid of you.
Okay. All right. So, as you touch this black ooze, right? We have Oliver. You said you're restraining Kaz, and we have Dianatha, who's trying to go in and looking through her medicines, right? And Mason, you're cool under pressure. You're calm, cool, collective. You've done something like this before.
Pouring the fucking alcohol on the wound. Let's do it.
Pouring the alcohol on the wound.
Like a shot, like the exact shot measurements.
Like you
Exactly,
watch, you watch Kaz and Nate, you're standing back.
Yes, Nate has jumped back.
Wide open. So we're gonna see this from the perspective of Nate. The camera shifts behind Nate. We watch as Nate's facial expressions widen in almost excitement, but also fear for the first time.
A little bit of fear.
A little fear that something was said to me, and I didn't realize that this could happen. This was supposed to be all fantasy and not real. But you watch as now in agony and pain, you watch as this body, Kaz's body, just arches his back as he is kind of lifting off of the chair, as you watch Oliver and Mason struggle to pull him from jumping out of his chair.
What the fuck?
Hold him.
Yeah, all right. Throw the alcohol bottle, shatters on the side, and then grabbing him and pulling him down as well.
He is in pain. The camera shifts to Alice. Alice, you touch this black ichor. A shot of electricity shoots through your body as you touch it. Memories flash before you. You see a body, two, a disfigured woman. You see blood pool. You watch as this person gets shocked, pushed back in. You see a face through a mirror, a figure passing through. You watch as this person runs, and these are all just disheveled memories. They're coming at you in flashes. You hear a loud scream. All of this is just racing through your body. You hear 2 gunshots. And an explosion. The last thing you see is a figure. Static in nature. Face not really recognizable. Look down at this point of view, at this person. Growl
You hear as it's getting nearer. And as the camera zooms in on this figure, humanoid in nature, he stares straight back at you, as if he sensed your presence. And you are pulled back into the scene.
What the fuck is it?
Some kind of monster.
What do you mean, monster?
What the
There was a creature. There was an explosion. There were gunshots. I don't know if maybe it hurt Kaz. Is the wound maybe from that creature? I don't know how to.
I'm gonna go up to Kaz's face and Kaz, look at me. Are you okay? What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do?
And he pulls you closer in pain. I need you all to find out what did this. As you hear pain in Kaz's face as he passes out.
Well, at least that's over for the moment.
It seems for the moment his doc, you check over his pulse. Pulse is still there. He's still alive.
Is he stable?
He's stable-ish.
He's still breathing. At least we can tell that.
Yes.
Barely.
Can we move him onto someplace more comfortable than
Is there a
this?
couch or some sort of lounge chair?
Yeah, I'll take him to his spot. I'm gonna
I'll just pick him up.
Kaz up. Oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. Yeah. That works here. Right over here. And then I'm gonna go to the corner booth, of course, where Kaz loves to the elevated corner booth that if you were to walk in, you would know exactly where the person that owns this establishment is, because it is the most grand spot. So I'm gonna sit right over here. Okay.
He just kind of lightly, as much as he can, lays him down, but loses footing at the moment and just kind of
lays slouched onto the table, arm hanging from the establishment. He's half on the couch, half his body is like kind of dismangled over to the side.
Put him onto the full couch. Somebody.
Nate moves in to assist getting him up on the couch, and for the first time sees the red lines on his skin and shifts back a little bit, still unsure of what's going on.
So what you see is not red lines. What you see is black ichor. It's black.
No, the red line's on Nate's skin.
Oh, Nate's skin. Gotcha. I thought you meant like you were seeing Kaz's. I apologize.
No, because his clothes always sort of cover his hands in every single way. So when he moves up to actually do something with his hands, he sees the effect of the bleed and is startled and steps away from Kaz entirely.
Here, Nate, come over here. Just come sit down. Just make sure that he doesn't fucking die, please.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sit down with Nate. Okay, what you just experienced was bleed.
That's what it's called.
Yeah, Kaz was in the middle of telling you something, and then I fucked it up like always. What they do in Candela. They go out and they search for these magical effects, these phenomena. They try to contain them. They try to make sure that they help the people of Newfoundland. But with that comes consequences and danger. Now, I don't know who you are, but Kaz does. and he's vouched for you quite a bit. So, I don't know if he's given you this choice. If you want to be here, if you want to try and help New Fair, then we will take you and we will have you help us find whatever did this. If you don't, that is fine. I can take you to the front and you can just go.
You know, magic isn't supposed to be real. I always theorized that it was real, but
I know.
But to actually see it, it's all a little bit frightening.
Yes. Yeah.
But also seeing it is frightening, and all I can think is, well, I don't want my wee sister ever seeing it, so I suppose it's probably best that I do help.
Okay. Okay.
It just gets
Mason
worse, by the way. Just so you're aware.
Mason's gonna go around the bar and then pull out one of the drawers where one of the Candela Obscura pins are that Kaz always keeps on hand, at least, while you're talking.
Okay, yeah. Being close to this, if you can send your sister somewhere, a different neighborhood,
she's in the
area or
mountains.
something. Oh, all right. Well,
Mountains.
Where do you think I get the
Interesting.
scarlet?
I'm not going to ask. I'm just.
Scarlet.
Kaz has gone downhill, and it'll just continue to get worse. Even if you're curious about this, it's right to be scared, because it will take from you over and over.
Well, I'd rather it would take from me instead of my sister, or my family, or even any of the girls at the Divine. So I suppose it would be best for me to take on this burden, but...
Exactly like a Candela member. And then he hands over this small pin that you can see the Candela symbol on. Have this on your person whenever you're on an investigation like now. And those who know. Those who don't need to know. Candela is secret. Like you said, you only thought the magic was a theory.
A very good theory.
Keep it that way. Let's see why Kaz brought you here. And then he hands the pen over.
Nate takes the pen and looks at his very baggy clothing, and then opts to stick it on one of his suspenders, because that's the only thing that isn't going to move around a lot. Can I have some whiskey now? Just a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's that or I do the Scarlet. I'd rather not do the Scarlet right now. I feel like I need my wits about me.
You know.
I'm glad I kept mine on the side for a little bit. I should have gone home.
Should have gone home.
Should have never walked into this bar in the first place.
I'll drink to that. Okay.
I have a question. When I had the vision, did I recognize the place at all? Where it happened? Like, do I know where to start looking?
No.
Was there anything in the papers about an explosion anywhere in the city?
I was going to say the papers as in the assignment that we were, like, the paper, but that's a cool idea. I really like that.
Both.
I mean, that's all Nate ever had was the newspapers.
Right, yeah. No, that's,
Smart.
Here's what I'm going to say to all of you.
Okay.
Hang on to your hats, ladies and gents, as we take a small break. And
It's a good.
Like over here, like what
I would
is
like to go into the house right now.
we're gonna take. So, thank you guys so much again for being here, and we'll be back right after this short break.